Confidence and arrogance. What is the difference? And ego. Is it a bad thing? In this particular episode of Let's Talk, that is exactly what I want to discuss. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's get comfortable. This particular subject matter that we're going to be discussing is one that I have been pondering on for years, yet I never discussed it because I felt that I didn't have language for it at all. I am just now this week arrived at a place where I'm like, I think I can talk about it. I think I can expound on my take on it. And I think I'm okay. And what brought this forth is the fact that I saw a video, which I'm going to be including in the show description. If allowed, I will try to figure out a way to link it somehow. Y'all need to go watch this. So a person that is very near and dear to me was sharing their experience and their journey. And as part of that journey, they had an encounter with ego. And the way they admitted that really left me like, wow, left me in awe. And I expressed it to them. I said, people who have been egotistical, people that have maybe had a moment or moments where they've been arrogant, they don't admit that. Like, that is a rarity. And that led to me expounding on the conversation and expressing some things, and that just kept going. I continued to meditate on the subject matter throughout the course of the days, throughout the course of the week, and I have arrived here. So I'm so excited to share my take on it. I hope you enjoy it, but please go watch the video. That's why I'm being vague, because you need to go watch it. But I think it's important. I'm going to start to talk about the definition, because I had to look up the definition, because I'm like, what in the world is the difference between being confident and being arrogant? Because I feel that we need to understand what each of these two words mean and where is the line, because it can be a very, 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 very fine line. For instance, arrogance, it is an exaggerated sense of self where you just think you're better than everybody. Typically, you're compensating for your deficiencies. So at that point, you are lying to yourself and you're lying to the world. And as you're perhaps trying to figure out how to navigate through your deficiencies, you start treating people like you are better than. You begin to trash talk. And this is where fake it till you make it can really get rocky, because people tend to use arrogance as a way to compensate for those deficiencies. And it could come from a place of insecurity. Pay attention. People who brag on themselves. I'm better than da-da-da-da. I'm the best, da-da-da-da-da. Whatever it is, they typically aren't the best at whatever they are claiming to be the best at. But it is typically rooted from a place of insecurity, a place of comparison. And we all do it. We all compare ourselves. But in a place where that comparison has led to now you feeling rocky about where you're at in comparison to X, Y, and Z. Now, confidence, I would say, is a balanced self-evaluation, inventory assessment of one's ability. Like, okay, I'm good at this. I'm an empath and I'm great with connecting with people. You know what? I'm really good at organizational skills. I'm really you just know what you are good at. and you're cool with it. But confidence takes it to a whole other level. Confidence does not feel or have the need to brag or to boast, does not feel the need to talk, yell it to the world. I'm good at X, Y, and Z. Confidence just is. That being said, confidence does speak up when there is a need for that particular skill. It doesn't just sit back and watch the world crumble when whatever problem at hand, whatever problem at bay can be fixed if they spoke up and put their abilities at play. Because let me tell you something, a lot of people will try to hide behind the guises of humility. We can't brag about ourselves. We can't talk about your skills. Like, you gotta stay humble. You gotta stay humble. And I've been one of those people where it's like, hey, hide. Don't be showing off what you can do. Don't talk about your ability. You gotta stay humble. And I think in great part too, it's because sometimes when you begin to express, hey, I have this ability and I feel like I can, bring this to the table, or I can, I can take care of that issue with X, Y, and Z ability. The recipient, if they are insecure, will accuse you of not being humble. Because again, they're not insecure, they're insecure. And you get enough of those blows, it just puts you in a place where you just don't even want to talk about what you're good at. Like, now I gotta stay humble. Yeah, and we do. We have to have a proper assessment and not boast and think we are better than. We have to have a proper assessment of our skills, giftings, and abilities. And that's how you stay humble. But don't hide your abilities. You're doing a disservice. Your giftings and your abilities, guess what? They are not for you. They were given to you to service others, for you to have that heart of service, for you to use. That's part of your purpose. Your giftings and your abilities are. But it's important. There's nothing wrong with saying I have X, Y, and Z ability. I think about King David in 1 Samuel chapter 17. It was time to fight Goliath. Goliath had been a whole bully. Nobody can step up to the plate. Okay? And people doubted David. But David went up in there and was like, listen, these are my credentials. You guys are doubting me. Okay. But hey, I have experience in the field. I've killed lions. I've killed bears. He just rattled off his abilities. It wasn't done in an arrogant way. It was simply, hey, this is the situation at hand. I have the ability to handle X, Y, and Z danger. I feel like I can handle this problem. Let's go for it. And even when David killed Goliath and fought many battles, it wasn't him bragging about his victories. I mean, I don't know if he ever did so in private. It was the people singing, that he had killed however many thousands he had killed and bragged on him for him. But he was focused on the mission. He was focused on taking care of the kingdom, taking care of his purpose, doing what he had to do. And I'm not saying he's perfect, because he was not at all. We see people like Paul, and I cannot believe I'm going to talk about him in a semi-positive way, because if you don't know this, me and Paul don't get along. I mean, but let me stop, because he did write half the New Testament, but issue for another time. But Paul had a moment where he had moments where he rattled off his abilities down to his education. Hey, if there's anybody more educated here, it's me. But he did so in a way to address a situation. It wasn't from a place of arrogance. It wasn't. Jesus never hid who he was, like his talents and abilities. He just did. And I think the key to it all is focusing on using the abilities to service others, is having that heart of service versus trying to advance one's name. And I know that we are in an era where, we working on our careers, and you maybe working on your branding. And mind you, as a branding coach, you're just somebody who tends to be really good at branding and things like that. You have to talk about your abilities. And in an era where we're all trying to grow our platforms in social media or whatever it is, it can be very easy to have that be the focus. Like, hey, my sole focus is to grow my platform and to be well known, et cetera, which has a place and has a time. But may I submit to your, for your consideration, the following. I think that if we focus on our why do we do what we do? What is the mission at hand? Why were we given the abilities and the giftings that we have? What is our purpose? And you do just that, your name will be known regardless. You will be well known regardless. And I know that some of you Pharisees that may be in this particular channel right now may clutch your Pharisee pearls. But let me tell you something. God is not scared of making us famous. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with us having fame. Goodness, he told Abraham, I will make your name great. He told David, I'm going to make you famous. He is not, us being famous and well known has never been a problem. It is not a sin. It just is. But when we remove our focus away from our name being exalted and focus on the mission at hand and do just that, the byproduct of that is your name becomes great. That's just what I think. And we all, to some capacity, want to be well known. But I think of the best example of this, and that is Jesus. The Son of God who left the heavenly realms, who was seated in glory, came down to earth, born in the most humble settings possible. He was tempted in the desert. Tempted. And for something to be tempting to you, it means that there's an appeal, right? Like, it appeals to you. And you can fall for it if you're not careful. And one of the things that Satan tempted Jesus with was him showing off who he is. Satan was like, hey, if you are truly the Son of God, X, Y, and Z. And if there's anybody that had every right to brag on who he is, was Jesus. Whole Son of God. Yet he didn't. When he, in the 3 years of ministry that he had on this earth, he didn't brag about his abilities. He just did. He focused on the mission. He didn't brag about his name. He bragged on God's name. He focused on the mission, and the byproduct of fulfilling the mission was that he was given a name that is above every other name. Is that he is right now seated on the right hand of the Father, because he focused on the mission and did not succumb to bragging on who he was or who he is. He didn't succumb to the pressure of becoming arrogant. He just focused on the mission. So in a practical sense, my advice would be make an assessment of your abilities. There's nothing wrong with that. That's part of your purpose. Be honest about what you are good at. Be honest even about your deficiencies. Don't focus so much on them. Focus so much on the things that you are naturally equipped with and put them to good use. Those are your gifts. We will all be giving accounts for our giftings and abilities and how we handled them. I'm going to use a very churchy word, how we steward those gifts. Serve the people. Complete the mission. And you'll see. You will see. But that's my take on it, man. So that has me walking now a little bit different. It's really helping me tremendously walk confidently. And, oh yeah, if I can add to that too, I think it leads one to genuinely being happy for other people. Because, sometimes I have heard and I have seen people where somebody will give an announcement on whatever it is, right? It could be a career, a pregnancy announcement, an engagement or whatever. And if the person is not confident, they'll be like, well, when is it my turn? Versus genuinely being happy for the person. And when we are confident in who we are, we can be genuinely happy for people. Even if a part of us is grieving, like, man, I'm so happy for so-and-so. Yes, I do wonder when when that will happen for me. But I'm genuinely happy for so-and-so success. And you end up truly, authentically supporting, and you authentically can show up confidently knowing like, hey, let me continue doing what I'm doing. It too will happen for me. But that's my take on it. I could be wrong in my theology. I could be wrong in how I'm processing all of this. So I'm curious. What you guys think on that? What is your take? And do you find yourself in a place of maybe humility, where that braggadocious humility of I am very humble, and really you somehow become arrogant in your humility, which is insane. But yeah, what's your take on it? But hey, till next time.